and welcome to Cleo's Chat. Today we are talking about episode 2 of Cleo the Cat, titled Home Sweet Home. Today's story picks up where episode 1 ended, the day I adopted Cleo. Now I just signed the papers for Cleo and I was excited to bring her home. So I put her in the cat carrier and placed her in my car. Bringing a cat home for the first time in a car can be a very interesting experience. My last cat, Soleil, she was doing anything she could to break out of the cardboard box cat carrier the Humane Society gave me. She was just attacking the box, and when I got home, that box just fell apart. Well, I learned my lesson last time, and this time I arrived at the Humane Society with a proper cat carrier. So I put Cleo in my car, and we had about a 15-minute drive. The first part of the trip went well. She was just checking out the environment. But then she started to get antsy. And that's when the constant meowing began. And the box just started shaking. So I started to sing her songs, and that helped calm her down for the most part. But overall, the car ride was a success. When we arrived at the house, I opened the back door, placed the cat carrier down, and let her loose. Now, some cats will run and hide right away, but not Cleo. She came out of the carrier and calmly looked around my kitchen. She then proceeded to walk around the house, smelling, looking, investigating. She had no fear of her new surroundings. As she was scoping out the house, I just let her be. I let her wander around the house at her own pace and on her own terms. As she was getting accustomed to the new home, I prepared a meal for her. Water, wet and dry food, and of course, some cat treats. After she was done checking out the house, she went right to the food and filled her belly full. After she was done eating, I took out the cat brush. Now, being in an animal shelter can be a very stressful time for a cat, and they can lose a lot of hair due to that stress. So I wanted to brush all that stress away, and she was loving it. Every stroke of the brush just made her happier and happier. After the brushing, I picked her up, went to the couch, lay down, and she curled up right on top of me. She then fell asleep for the next 6 hours with me. She was exhausted. If you recall my previous Cleo chat, Cleo was going through a lot of changes in her life, both physically and emotionally. Although animal shelters do amazing things for pets, it can be a very stressful time for them. See, Cleo was found under a porch and recently gave birth to kittens. That is a huge moment for any animal. Then she was locked in a cage in an unknown environment at the animal shelter. And then she was spayed at the shelter. Finally, she became adopted by me, a stranger to her. And she was getting a brand new home, and she had no idea what the situation was going to be like. All those experiences can be a traumatic time for anyone. Luckily, my house is a very quiet house. I don't have any other animals, I don't have kids, or anybody else living with me. It was just me. So it was a perfect environment for her to relax in. Now you can understand why she slept for 6 hours as soon as we got home. She was exhausted, both physically and mentally. I finally went to bed and let Cleo do her thing at night. I'm sure she was just doing more exploring. When I woke up the next day, I yelled out, "Cleo!" and she came running right to me. I fed her, and after she ate, she started hopping around the house like a rabbit. From what I hear, that's a sign of a happy cat, and that made me very happy. I couldn't believe how attached we both became to each other in such a short period. She trusted me right away. Well, that's it for this episode. Tune in next time to find out how Cleo's name went from Cleopatra to Cleo. Oh, and before I forget, Cleo says...